Καλησπέρα και από μένα. Είμαι η Μαρία Akrivou, Senior Editor του Fortune Greece. Τελευταίο πάνελ για σήμερα. Ελπίζουμε να σας κρατήσουμε αμύωτο το ενδιαφέρον. Εμείς πρόκειται να μιλήσουμε για βιωσιμότητα και ποιο το impact που έχει στην τουριστική ανάπτυξη. So I will switch into English. We will have in our panel Mr. Gianleo Bosticco, Mr. Elie Milky, he is coming, Mr. Dimitris Panos, and Mr. Jerome Lassara. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
So we have 30 minutes in our disposal and talking about sustainable practices in hospitality. What sustainable practices are being implemented in your hospitality establishments and what initiatives have been most effective in driving positive change? I will start from you.
Yes, sure. So, at Marriott, which is the global hospitality company on a global base, we have started a long time ago with setting goals for everything that is related to ESG. Mm-hmm. So, at the moment, we have a chart where, for example, we set goals for the next few years, particularly to 2025, where we have 4 axes. The first is nurture our world, where we have said that 80% of the property managed by Marriott will have certificates by 2025. Then another axis is empower to opportunity, so that we invested and we are going to invest 35 million per year in making sure that associates on a global basis receive a skill and training in various environmental matters. Mm-hmm. Another axis is sustain responsible operation. So also in this case, we have as our objective to reduce by 50% our environmental footprint by 2025. And last, welcome all. So all our associates, they are going to receive a training and certificate on human trafficking and making sure that all environmental matters are taken into consideration. So both at property and above property.
Mm-hmm. So we heard about the goals of Marriott International, and when it comes to Radisson Hotel Group, which are your goals and what you have achieved so far?
Thank you. Also, thank you to the audience. We expected a room of 5 people for the last panel of the day, so thank you for those who stayed behind for your solidarity.
I think that they're waiting for the cocktails.
For the cocktails, yeah. So am I, by the way. So, no, very much in line with what Gianleo said. I mean, we have been, we call it responsible business, think planet, think people, and think community. It's been long since 1989. I was only 9 years old back then. There are different pillars of it, and for instance, reducing our carbon footprint by 50% by 2030, very similar to what Gianleo said from Marriott. We aim to reach net zero carbon footprint by 2050.
Mm-hmm. Do you think this is feasible?
Look,
or is it a too ambitious goal?
It may be ambitious, but our sustainability team, our responsible business leaders, believe that it can be achieved by 2050. So I hope so. The idea is, how does that translate into numbers? For instance, in the past 10 years, we've reduced our energy consumption, energy costs at our hotels by 30%. We have installed solar panels across the Mediterranean and from Spain all the way to Cyprus, and to save energy, for solar energy, for light, for hot water. Those are just some examples. Many of our properties are Green Key certified and LEED certified, eliminating single plastic use, water waste, food waste. So there's a lot of initiatives that are going into place. And yes, the targets may be ambitious, but at the end of the day, it's what you do on a daily basis.
As far as Greece is concerned, can you share some numbers?
It's in the early stages. In Greece, we went from 2 hotels 4 years ago.
Because you mentioned Spain and Cyprus.
I mentioned all the way between Spain and Cyprus. So that includes Split, Croatia, Mykonos and Santorini, where we have hotels as well. And we're opening more hotels in Athens and the Peloponnese region in the next four years. Examples would be, for instance, Think People and how we are contributing to the economy in that sense as well, to the community, is that with our recent openings 2-3 years ago, we created 100 to 150 new jobs. In the 4 openings that we have in the next 2 years, we're going to be creating more than 500 jobs. So this is how we touch on the community as well and on the people that we work with.
Mr. Lassara, what are Accor's key results and commitment for sustainability? Because I know that you have conducted a very interesting survey regarding this. So could you share some insights?
Yes, but we with Accor, Radisson, we are a global hotel operator, so we more or less are in line with this type of objective. So if we take the main objective, which is zero carbon footprint by 2050, we've got the same objective. Of course, is it ambitious or no? For example, we are ambitious because we appointed, and I guess you have also 4 years ago, a chief sustainability officer. She used to be a minister in the government of Macron, so she's a person of very high caliber. And she's working hard on that with all the teams. And what is important is that it's not that we just want to do that, it's just because the ecosystem of our business, so all our stakeholders are looking at the same objective. For example, if we take the owners, because we manage hotel, they know that they need to be sustainable because you've got so many impacts in terms of finance, of efficiency of their building, return on investment. So
you see that their mentality has changed to that direction.
Because at the end, part of mentality and sensibility, it's very often driven by, for investors, for profitability, and somehow the profitability of the hotels tomorrow will be linked to sustainability because, again, in terms of efficiency of their building, the fact that if they want to sell their hotel, so to exit, they will have a premium. We consider that a building which is sustainable can have a premium of 15%. So they are interested to do that. We also, because our clients, B2B clients, travel agents, when they run our RFP, they are asking the hotel to have a program for sustainability. So if you are not compliant, anyway, you will have some issues selling your hotel. We have also the guests, the younger generation, they are very much sensitive to that. I see my daughter, it's not like we used to be. So if the company is not putting in place some programs, maybe she will kind of not go to this hotel in the future. So it's in our interest to do that also. And also the employees, the staff members, now they recognize and they want to work on companies. And we were talking about this morning how it's difficult to attract good team members and to have them in your staff to provide the best services.
Lack of talent.
Yeah, and the talents, they look at that also. I see a lot of younger people coming to the company, and one of the first questions is that, what do you do for sustainability? And if you don't do that, they don't want to work for this company. So it's a whole ecosystem that goes in this direction because everybody has interest to do so.
But I insist on the net zero world by 2050. Have you calculated the cost of such an investment? And this question goes both to Mr. Milky and to you. And if these things can be applicable not only in Europe, but in the United States, for example, let's say, because they have a totally different mentality and different goals. The restrictions are here in Europe.
Yes.
Because you're a global hospitality group.
What you have to consider also that you've got two types of situation. We work in development, so very often we work on future projects that have to be built. So this is one question, and now increasingly, so I'm not a specialist of the US, but increasingly, if you don't build hotels and we incorporate that in our standard, which are BREEAM or LEED compliant, you won't be able to do them. So now you have to build your new buildings like that. Then after you've got the existing building conversion, which is an issue for us. So for example, in my company, and I'm part of this group, we are working on a system, a scorecard, to evaluate before taking over an existing hotel with the owner, what is the situation of the assets, where is efficient, where is not efficient, what he would have to do to make it efficient and to cost it. So we are working on this type of tools to be able to provide solutions to the owner, especially for conversion. For new build, it's a bit more easy.
Mr. Milky, would you like to add?
The actual cost of ultimately reaching 2050 net zero, I don't know. But as Jerome said, on a case-by-case basis, we see that for sustainably friendly initiatives in the development, the upfront costs are usually higher than the traditional, yet the operating costs are expected to be lower. And this is where we find the savings for our partners and for our investors. But to give you an actual figure of what the cost is going to be by 2050, I don't know. That's something I need to check.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, sorry to add here, the one who pays the bill for this kind of sustainability is the owner, not the operator. So it's a negotiation that goes between the operator and the owner, because usually these are totally different entities, and everything is subject to negotiation with the pros and cons.
Mm-hmm. So, Mr. Spanos, how can hospitality investments be designed to have a positive impact on local communities, such as through job creation, skills trading, and economic stimulus?
Yeah. First of all, nowadays it's a necessity, to invest in an eco-friendly way, because that has, an effect to the actual cost. You see how the energy cost goes up. If you are not efficient there, practically you pay a much higher check, number one. Also, sometimes that has to do, because, every location is different. For example, if you have a very seasonal destination and you have all the crowds visiting the place in 3 months, the destination suffers big time, which is the case with a city hotel like in Athens or in Barcelona, that you spread your visitation. Can you imagine, in some of the Greek islands or in Malta, you have 10 times the population of the island in 2 months. So, the infrastructure for sustain, this kind of visitation is totally different than a location which is with a much smoother visitation. Also, something which is very important for getting funding at the end of the day, it's important to have an eco-friendly hotel, simply because in the future, because of the new legislation that comes, nobody will get funding unless you are eco-friendly. So even us, when we are valuing
the so-called ESG factor.
Exactly, yes. So, if you have, it's like the cars. If you have old technology cars, you pay much higher rates, or you don't, they are trying to block this. So this is again the situation with the hotels, because we have the professionals running the hotels and you have the owners, which are, families, people with financial issues. So, you have to deal with these people as well, because this is a very big part of the market. It's not only until a few years ago, we had mostly family-run hotels or Greek hotel chains. Now, especially for Greece, this is changing big time. So you're coming with new ideas, much more, global approach, that changing things.
You're all representing multinational companies that operate in the Greek market as well. So what role do you think government incentives or policies can play in encouraging sustainable hospitality investments that benefit local communities? And of course, if you are satisfied by the Greek government since you operate here. So, Mr. Bosticco.
Well, as Mr. Spanos was saying, most of the time we have negotiation between owners that own the building and us that we either operate or we franchise the brand. So we are in a game with different players. From what the experience on the Greek market, I think there is a lot to be done because, for example, one of my clients is limited in putting solar panel on the roof. He could put much more, but the grid limit this to a much lower portion, not to overcharge the grid.
I suppose there must be a reason for that, but...
Yeah, but because the infrastructure they have invested, it's an island, and so they have invested in the connection with the mainland.
Which one? Which
And the
island?
road.
In roads. Okay, Mr. Milky?
So I think, and that's an
Noted.
example.
What's important is, yes, it's a negotiation, but when there's a regulation, there's no negotiation, right? So if there's something that we need to do, we need to do. But another example we have recently is introducing windows that are fire resistant. I mean, we've heard the warnings now, fire warnings. But correct me if I'm wrong, I heard recently that the government has introduced a regulation that where hotels that are within a forest area need to have a certain type of windows to resist fires. But then again, it's not feasible for these hotels. That's it. It's so expensive. It's 5 times, 10 times more expensive.
So you mean that they cannot observe the cost?
They can hold the project.
Absorb the cost.
They can, but it's not feasible anymore. It doesn't make sense. So I think regulations need to be in place, but they need to be reasonable. And I think the government is listening, but I think there should be a big initiative from the investor community, from the brand community, to tell the government, you're right, but it means I cannot
yes,
open.
but to the
it means I
example
cannot
you are
open the
referring
hotel.
to in terms of safety, because it's really important.
It's
Is
safety.
there an alternative?
Exactly. So you can have this rule, but if we cannot do it because it's not feasible anymore, let's have an alternative. We don't want the hotel to burn down, but we have to be reasonable. It has to make sense. It has to make investment sense and security sense. So, and the other thing is, I mean, we all touched on the different pillars. There are 4 pillars here when it comes to sustainability. One is the consumer. You know, Jerome's daughter, the new generation that wants a sustainable hotel. You have the investor that wants to save costs and wants to be able to sell their hotel in the future. You have the regulators and the government who are telling you need to follow the EU code on sustainability. You have the certifications, a green key certification, LEED certification, and all of that. You've got lending requirements as well, green loans. So from every angle, it went from being a nice to have to a necessity that we cannot get away with. So our entire mindset needs to change in order to become eco-friendly.
Mr. Lassara?
Yes, what I told you before is that we, as international brands, so we are committed to this type of objective. So we've got a full set of standards. So you've got, of course, in each country, because we don't work only in Greece, but in each country you've got your set of standards by the government. Then after, if you are in Europe, you've got also some European regulation. And on top of that, you've got the standards of big companies like us, which I can tell you it's a lot of documentation. And there is a special chapter for sustainability guidelines. So for new projects, we know that normally we won't work with people which are not engaged to respect this type of vision. Where we can have the dilemma sometime and where we find solution, it's where we've got conversion. And in this case, we have to see what is feasible, what is not feasible, if in terms of economics it can work, and if the owner is committed to do so also. And we might, and it's something we have in the company. We've got a committee for that. Normally, when we bring a hotel, to management to our development committee, we have, for new projects, for sure, to be committed that the hotel will follow our sustainability guideline. Otherwise, we won't accept to manage it. So it's really a commitment that we have, and we are a tool, big international chain, to go in this direction because we cannot compromise on that.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Spanos, you're the minority, you're the Greek guy, so you have a different perspective.
Actually,
and you have seen the Greek economy at its worst, and now I think that things are getting better. But I would like your opinion as well.
First of all, I think that, everything that was mentioned was absolutely correct. Every government, including the Greek government, can support this if they really want. For example, they can give some tax incentives, with regulations, but sometimes the regulations have to be realistic because don't forget, on the other hand, because it's good to mention all the good things, we're doing great, blah, 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 but we are experiencing two major wars in Russia and one in the Middle East that brought upside down the economies. Countries like Germany.
Yes, but during the last 10 or 15 years, if I can say so, we are living in a turbulence. I mean that.
Yes, exactly. But how on earth you can plan as if you are living in an ideal world that everything is what it is now, and we are getting from here to the zero thing. Yes, this is good. This is direction. But if you start reading that as a Bible, I think that you will follow the wrong direction because you have to be flexible enough and adjust your policy according to the situation. As I said, if you have a lot of crowds going to a small place.
We had the recession, we had the pandemic, now we have the war. So
exactly. Prices went up and down. When people are struggling to survive, are you asking them to put solar panels and... it's unrealistic. This is what I'm saying. So you have to be flexible enough, and that's why I mentioned that the operators, they are doing a great job, but when it comes to negotiate a good project that they are dying to get into, and they are pushing too hard for getting the standards, it can be you have experience like that. Sometimes you really want to get into a market and you have somebody in front of you and he's tough. What are you going to do? You will turn your back, somebody else will come from the other door. So if we want to be successful, we have to be realistic. Definitely, we have to follow the direction, but we have to adjust ourselves to the reality. This is what I'm saying. And also, last but not least, the most important thing about sustainability is a culture. If you start teaching the kids and the people to behave in that way and to respect.
This is what I said before, that you have to cultivate the right culture.
Exactly.
As far as your partners are concerned. Otherwise,
exactly.
Why
it
should
starts
invest?
even from the community, from the people. If the locals don't respect their life, for example, I have a house in Naxos. I was driving my, at some beach, and I saw some guy, a local guy, throwing out of his truck, rubbish to the side of the street, and that's what he stopped. I said, what are you doing there? I'm not from here, and I'm freaking out. And you are a local, and you should protect your place. So, are you going to say to this guy to be sustainable and blah blah blah? This is what I'm saying.
So I go back to Mr. Lassara. Within your brand portfolio, you have a brand with a specific sustainability approach. Could you tell us a bit more about its philosophy and business plan?
Yes, we've got a kind of thinking lab in the company where we try to explore the hospitality of tomorrow and see if we can find solutions to be also that are in line with our planet. And one of these projects, and we've got two concrete projects for that, is we started from the fact, again, that we've got a lot of space in main cities, office space or retail space, which are not used anymore because there is no market maybe for that. So instead of building, and this is a specific brand that we've got for hostels, so instead of saying we are going to build new hostels, we stop that, we stop the business model, and we say we will develop it only by taking over existing spaces And in order to do that, we call the project the hacker. So we have invented, or we have a model of some pods that we can build in 2 dimensions, so they can be installed in each building, because it's like an IKEA furniture, so you can put them inside. And so like that, just by doing that, we will, I don't know the percentage to how much we decrease the carbon footprint, but the first step is not to create new places and to use what we have. So, and this, we have a project which is
So reconstruction.
yes,
in a way.
it's a project, this one
Renovation.
in Rotterdam that we have. It's existing warehouses where we just go there and we install those pods, which are in wooden panels, and stuff like that. We've got a very limited carbon footprint.
I think this is something that I think we're all doing at a different level for 2 reasons as well. Not developing more land, converting existing structures. That helps the carbon footprint and maintaining the planet. And also, from our perspective, it also a conversion opportunity where the property could open within 6 months to 1.5 years, rather than a development risk of 5 years and it may never open. So that's something where we have 4 projects in the pipeline, 2 in Greece, 2 in the Peloponnese region. They're all conversions of existing structures, some historic, some listed, and some abandoned. So I think that's a very good approach that we're all doing as well.
So, Mr. Bosticco, what opportunities do you see for innovation and disruption in the hospitality industry that could drive further growth and sustainability?
Yeah, I think, there are opportunities. For example, we launched already almost 10 years ago a brand called Moxie that was designed in partnership with the investment fund of IKEA, Bastint. And this brand is built around a sustainable construction. Already, every room are made pre-assembled on site or on a factory, and they are entirely in wood, so sustainable materials, and then assembled on the site. So minimizing the construction, also the use of resources that are polluting, and this is just one example. I think going forward we will have more and more of this. Coming back to my friend Elie was talking about increasing conversion. This is a clear goal for us in development. So less use of green field, and incentivize the conversion or the adaptive reuse of office and to hotel use, which clear benefit for the cities and for the environment.
You referred to the opportunities. Mr. Milky, what are the most pressing challenges we have ahead for the hospitality industry?
Environmentally,
Just give us food for thought.
sustainability related or other?
Sustainably related.
Local regulations. I think that's the main challenge. There has to be practical, has to be executional. I think that's one of the main challenges. And the mindset, throwing garbage on the side of the street, the mindset has to change as well. Yeah.
We have 1 minute in our disposal. Mr. Lassara, just give us the message that you would like the audience to keep from our discussion.
The message is we had a seminar. We work all together to say what would be our message to the planet, and we just kind of said that we would like also for the universe, I would say, to be a planet where people from the universe will be able to come in the future. So we just want to live with the activities we have on a planet that we can preserve and be proud of, and be all together part of this project. So this you have to change your mindset. You have to It's very often by doing small things that you improve. We, for example, have now 44%, and I see that in this hotel it's the same, but we have cancelled single-use plastic in 84% of our hotels, so it takes time to do it. We have trained 97% of the headquarters of Accor to ESG training program, so just to be all on board. So it's changing the mind, doing little things, and then after we can improve and go in the same direction. So.
Mm-hmm. And I will close our panel discussion with Mr. Spanos. Apart from the rubbish, the garbage, is there a positive thing that we would keep in mind?
Yes, absolutely. I think that, definitely as Greece, if not anything else, we are getting a much better destination. That's why these gentlemen are around us, which is something that you would not see several years ago, and not too many years ago.
And this is why we have Athens Riviera for today.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, these people bring some kind of quality to our life, because these hotels cannot be successful unless the environment around the hotels is equally of high quality, and that definitely improves the life of us and the guests. This is how I see it personally. And all this sustainability thing, it's important because we need the planet doesn't need us, as simple as that.
And there is no planet B.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, gentlemen, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
insightful thoughts and for this discussion. And we hope to see you soon. And why not for vacation to Greece?
Of course.
Exactly.
Already booked.
Absolutely.
To your wonderful hotel. Thank you so much. Σας ευχαριστούμε πολύ όλους. Νομίζω ότι κάπως έτσι κλείνουμε τη σημερινή ημέρα.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.